Passover 2021 is a big moment for many of us. For the past year, we have been isolated from our family and friends, and many have found a way around that by creating family pods. It's been quite a year with so many souls who have passed on to their eternal rest. We can feel the moment might be coming closer, the time where we all can meet each other again without restraints. And isn't it interesting how the universe has brought us to this moment? When many of us will be again with our families celebrating the liberation of the children of Israel from their enslavement in Egypt. It is our first confident step outside of our homes and our safe spaces. We are being liberated from our Mitzrayim, the shut in, restrained times of COVID. In the story of Passover, we as a people needed to go through the Sea of Reeds. And the first big miracle God showed us after our liberation from Egypt was the opening of that sea. Let's remember walking through the towering walls of water with its mists and condensation sticking to our tired, sandy bodies. It was almost like a giant mikveh, cleansing us as we went through to the other side. Water, a very important element on the earth and inside us. And think of the Passover table and see how much water is on it. Some to drink from, some to dip in. And many have a beautiful cup filled with the water called a kos Miriam, in remembrance of this sister of Moses and her ability to find water in the desert for the whole encampment of the Israelites. The Israelites had to trust Moses that the water would not tumble down onto them. From the minds of the enslaved people to freedom and then to trust, it was probably a very big jump for them. So let's take a ride down a river and trust that we will get through to the other side safely. So, with all of the precautions we need to take, stepping out with trust that our lives will be in our own hands, creating new cycles of living our lives with trust in ourselves. Find a position you feel comfortable with, and if your eyes are already not closed, please close them. Relax your head, the top of your head. Relax your forehead. Relax your face. Relax your mouth. Relax your jaw. Relax your neck. Relax your shoulders and your upper arms. Relax your elbows and your forearms, your wrists, your hands, and your fingers. Relax your upper back. Relax your chest. Relax your mid back. Relax your diaphragm. Relax your lower back and your belly. And your hips and pelvic area. Relax your buttocks. Relax your thighs and your knees and your lower legs and your feet. Now bring attention to your pelvis and notice how it forms a sort of bowl below your belly. Visualize this bowl and imagine as you breathe deeply that you are filling that bowl up with your breath. That you are breathing the whole way down into this bowl. You are feeling it expand and contract gently with each breath. And now imagine that the bowl is filled with water up to the level just a couple of inches below your navel. See the surface of this water and imagine as you calm your mind, the ripples of your thoughts get smoothed out and the surface of the water becomes still. And now imagine that there is a pearl floating on the surface in the very center of that bowl. And let your energy all become condensed into this pearl. Imagine that you are descending into the pearl. As you inhale, notice that the pearl rises an inch or two. And as you exhale, the pearl descends an inch or two. Inhale and see the pearl rise. Exhale and see the pearl descend. Inhale. Exhale. Now you are going to become a river. Imagine that you are sitting in the middle of a gentle and perfectly warm river, facing downstream. And you can feel that warm water pushing against your back and swirling around your sides as it moves around you. It is absolutely constant. It never hesitates for a moment. It is just a constant flow. And now, imagine that your body is made out of salt. And in just a few moments, you melt. You completely dissolve into the river. And you become the river. And now you are flowing along as the river itself. If you think about the constant flow of water in the river, what is making the water move along? It is a downward slope of the earth. And what makes the river curve? It's the shape of the earth and its banks. And what cradles the massive oceans? It is a bowl of earth beneath them and the sandy shores at their edges. Earth holds water. Earth channels and guides rivers. Feel how the earth guides you completely, and all you need to do is flow. Let yourself be guided by the soil and rocks of the banks As you flow down the gentle slope of a massive mountain, imagine it is like riding on a water slide, that you are gently being pushed to the right and then to the left, just guided effortlessly by the curve of the banks. You never hesitate. You don't know what is coming up next, but there is nothing to do except keep flowing. Far ahead of you is a cliff. You can hear the water ahead of you roaring as it crashes hundreds of feet below. You've never been to the edge, but you know it's where you're supposed to go. You are invincible. You are fearless. You can feel your speed picking up as you near the edge. And finally, you fly over the cliff, and it feels just right and wonderful. And you are completely weightless. You are free. You are free falling, and it is perfect. You are cascading through the air, and it is beautiful. And finally, you come down in a deep pool at the bottom, and you are reunited with the earth. You are held again. Feel yourself being held in this pool of water, this nice, warm water. And finally, you resume your downward course down the river. You are guided along, curving gently to the right, curving gently to the left, never stopping. And it is the easiest thing in the world. Up ahead, there are some jagged rocks. What do these rocks represent to you? What might be coming along that you have apprehension about? What kind of what ifs could those rocks represent? Imagine for a moment that you really don't want to hit the rocks, that those rocks are what you don't want in your life, and see how it feels to try to restrain your flow. See how that sense of ease disappears if you are trying to hold back from those rocks, even though you are a river on an inevitable downward course towards them. See what happens if you try to go backwards. And notice that there is something that feels not right about that. If you can really feel the feeling of trying to avoid some undesired futures or situations, and know that whenever you have these feelings, it is an indication that you are fighting nature, that you are off track, that you are making life hard when you don't have to be. Instead, just trust and get back into the flow, into the inevitable flow downwards of that warm water that you are. Now, let yourself approach those rocks and feel how much more easy and relaxed it is just to flow around them with no effort at all. You find the path of least resistance and you snake in between and around those rocks, and you are completely unscathed. And now you continue on, flowing down, gently downwards, flowing confidently onward. The earth and the banks guiding you, and you take a long, slow curve to the right, and a long, slow curve to the left. Your entire being is guided into a wonderful arch to the right, being completely held the whole way, and then a slow and gratifying curve to the left. And you can feel that the rock in the earth here must have been harder in a naturally snaking pattern, so you are gently moved from side to side, gently to the right, gently to the left. The earth is cradling you and rocking you. And now the slope of the mountain starts to flatten out, and you are getting wider and slower. You, the river, get wider and slower. And now you wash out into a broad delta. You feel yourself spreading out over the land, which is thirsty for a drink of you. Imagine that you are sinking down into the rich earth. You are trickling down little pockets in the rocks and soil, slowly percolating into the earth. You are completely surrounded by the earth. You are embraced by the earth, following little cracks and channels, down, 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 around rocks and roots, and down into the still water table, where for now you are completely motionless in the deep, dark earth, completely held, completely still. And now you can feel something pulling you back up. Something is slowly, gently pulling you back upwards, and you realize it is the roots that are all around you, the deep, vast roots of a mighty tree. Imagine how strongly the roots of the trees are sipping you up, pulling you through the soil towards them. And now you are entering the roots. Through the roots, twisting and turning, flowing upward, and finally entering the great trunk of the tree. And you can feel you are being pulled upward inside the strong and steady trunk of the tree. And it is guiding you up to its mighty trunk, and you feel yourself held in the strength of this tree. You are being pulled up into a lot of different directions. The branches are pulling you into themselves, into smaller and smaller branches, until finally you are being pulled into the source of the pulling, the green leaf. You enter into the thousands of those green leaves, and now that you are in them, you can feel the source that has been pulling you into them. That is the sun. The tree is reaching for the sun, and the leaves are dancing and basking in the sun. And the sun is enticing the water out of the leaves. It is inviting you to evaporate through the pores of the leaves. And you feel yourself getting lighter and lighter in this warmth and the brightness of the sun. And finally, you exit the leaves and become water vapor in the air. You are weightless. You are free. You are formless. And you are moved around playfully by the wind. You float upward in a pocket of warm air, up and up into the blue of the sky. You are just so open and light and free. And as you continue to rise, you feel the air getting cooler and cooler, and you can feel that the coolness is consolidating you. It is starting to make you gather back together. And you feel like you are forming into a cloud. Slowly, you start to form into a gauzy white puff. And as you gather more and more densely, you grow little by little. You are becoming fluffier and bigger, and you eventually turn into a big, billowy cloud, floating in the beautiful blue sky like a perfect ball of cotton. You are floating so peacefully, feeling so pure and white. In the distance, you see a tall mountain, and you allow the wind to blow you towards it. And you come to settle high above its peak. And little by little, you become more condensed, more and more watery. You are a heavy, darker cloud now, full of water, hovering in the sky, just waiting for the right moment to let it all go. You can feel the weight of all the water you are carrying. And now, with great relief, you let yourself fall back down to the ground and hit the ground and the rocks on the mountain. Feel yourself pour down in streams of water, in sheets of rain, returning to embrace and soak into the earth again. You are reconnecting with the ground and enjoying its firmness. And now you find yourself forming little streams of water that trickle down and eventually come together. This, this is the source of the river. And once again, you find your way into the channel. The earth is guiding you, gently pushing you to come together, to consolidate yourself into one united stream. And you are back in the flow once more, flowing down the slope of the mountainside, and your earthen banks are once again pushing you gently to the right, and then pushing you gently to the left, cradling you and supporting you and guiding you along your way. And remember the rocks that get in your path. Do not fight against them. Just flow around them. And as you come back into your body, remember the trust that you felt and the way the natural world was guiding you. Remember this when you feel unease. If you are not trusting, then relax and get back into the flow. Feel the nature around you. And when you feel ready, move your toes and your fingers, your legs and your arms. Move your eyes and your face. And when you are ready, open up your eyes and come back to this space. So guys, how was it for you? Yeah,
It felt like 2 hours. It was great. It was wonderful.
Rochelle, that's what meditation does for you.
Yeah, I
So
see that.
I need to say, because we're recording this and we'll put it on the TMS YouTube channel, that this was written by one of my teachers, Dr. Peter Borton. Just wanted to give that appellation, because it's not, I did not write that except for the opening of the meditation. So I hope and it's all, we can all, I mean, I know people in pods have been going over to like their in-laws and stuff and have the ability to go place, but I haven't. And this year, instead of me sitting in front of a camera on my computer and being alone for Passover, I get to, have Pesach with my family. So it's just, opening up and not allowing the rocks of whomever or whatever get in our way, and just flow past them in order to, keep the fear down. So I hope this all resonates with you, and have a good Shabbos tonight, and come back next